Stefan, good morning and welcome back. How was your off-season overall?
Yeah, it was good. It was busy with a few things off the field, and obviously ending it with this last lockdown was interesting. But it was nice to be able to relax and get away from football. But excited to be back.
You obviously also got married in the off-season. Congratulations! And how was that celebration with your new wife, Carla?
Yeah, it was really good. It was a perfect day, and we had to push it back by 7 days because of the first restrictions that came in. So we're really grateful that we actually got to get it in before this new lockdown happened.
Were you able to leave SA at all before the restrictions and before the border closed and things like that to kind of like unwind and I guess free your head of everything football related?
Yeah, we got to Melbourne for I think it was 5 or 6 days. So when we were actually originally meant to get married, once that got called off, then we decided to go down to Melbourne just to get away for a little bit, and that was nice to break it up.
You mentioned the most recent lockdown. It obviously delayed our return to training by about a week. But how did you spend those 7 days? And I guess what did you get up to?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think being locked inside is never easy. But I was fortunate. I got some equipment from the club here, and I was able to keep relatively fit. And then I just really spent it watching the Olympics. So it was exciting to see other athletes performing at their best, and the Australians doing quite well.
It hasn't been too long really since the end of last season, but was it good to see the boys yesterday when we came in for our testing?
Yeah, it's always good. You obviously live with each other for 10, 11 months of the year, so when you're away from them for 4 or 5 weeks, it's strange. But seeing everyone yesterday in good spirits and happy to be back is always a good time.
Did you catch up with anyone in that time away?
From the club?
Yeah.
Not really, to be honest. I think everybody kind of went and did their own thing individually, and it wasn't until last week I came in and did a session and saw a couple of them before the lockdown, and now seeing everyone back is been good.
Like we said, we did some testing yesterday. I saw some boys having their skin folds done this morning. Has anyone come back looking fitter or leaner than expected? No, we haven't hit the park just yet. We'll be doing that a little bit later, but has anyone come back looking good?
I think it's good to see Joe Gauci and Cassini, who were injured at the end of last season. They both look really good, and I think it was important for them to have the break and to come back fitter and stronger, and they both look like they're in good shape. So it's exciting for them to build on what they did last season.
No one's enjoyed the break more than others. No COVID kilos on top of that from the lockdown to be worried about.
Not sure yet, but I think we'll work that off pretty quickly.
Just reflecting on last season, obviously we were a game away from reaching a grand final and lost to Sydney in that semi-final. Have you had time to reflect on that and the season overall? What have you learned from that season? It was quite long in the end.
Yeah, I think our best was really good, and I think we showed against Sydney and against Melbourne City, who were the two best teams consistently. We can beat them when we're playing our best. So our best was great, but I think we weren't consistent enough, and that showed throughout the season. So it gives us a lot of positives going into this year. We've got a lot of young players, which should all get better. We're a young team, and I think that should make all fans really excited about what we can produce this season.
Is that a mental thing, I guess, overcoming the lack of consistency or those dips in form that we had last season? Obviously, we had real peaks that were very high and we were doing really, really well, pushing for that top 2 spot, and then we kind of troughed quite significantly. How do you overcome that? Is it mental, like I said?
I think it's mental, but I think it's also experience. We had a lot of young players, or inexperienced in games anyway, playing for us, and with a few injuries we had to chop and change the team. So it was hard to find that consistency, but those inexperienced players will now be a lot better for getting those games in them, and now having a 2nd or 3rd or 4th pre-season. So it's something that we definitely need to work on, and I'm sure that we're going to be doing this pre-season, but it's all about learning, and I think we took a lot out of last season.
Just lastly, we've obviously lost a few boys who have moved on to some greener pastures. Some have moved on to other spots in the league and abroad as well. It's always disappointing to be losing players, but how confident are you that the club's able to bring in, I guess, adequate replacements for those boys that have left?
Yeah, it's disappointing to lose players within the league. I think you want to be a club where people come to and they want to stay at and build their career on, but that's part of football, and it was great to see Ryan Strain get a move away, and that's something that the club's really big on, is helping South Australians reach their potential and giving them that platform to get overseas. So it was awesome to see him do well, and for the replacements, I know, speaking to the coaching staff and with Vito coming in, they're working really hard to find some players, and I'm sure the fans will be excited by the announcements to come.